Hello everyone, I am Lee. Whether in the hearts of model friends or military fans, that position is absolutely unshakable. For example, an aircraft like the J-10 and J-20. So what about friends who play models, whether composite, foam or KT? There is always a J-10, right? The one in front of us is equivalent to giving you one more choice. So today, we will take a look at this J-10 fighter jet, nicknamed as Vigorous Dragon. This plane comes with two colors. One is Air Force Gray, and other is Aerobatic Team. Same as the previous F-16. It also has two colors, that is performance and battle. The combat livery carries bombs and fuel tanks, while the performance one has no combat units. So what about the power? It uses a 4S 2200 to 2600 battery. An introduction said, this sound wave should be pretty nice. After opening it, the painting of this Aerobatic Team is very beautiful. Because there is no warhead, so things are simpler. In fact, it is quite acceptable to insist on the performance of this aircraft. I saw my friend flying this plane. The high angle is also very beautiful. Especially this delta wing is compacted. This layout feels aerodynamic. I feel the appearance is quite good. Look, this plane is so beautiful. The painting and details of the Aerobatic Team are very exquisite. For example, this detail of the intake port in front of the fuselage, including antenna under the front plastic tube, the rear antenna, and the negative antenna. There are also some depictions of this skin line. This livery of the Chinese Air Force. Then you can see a long battery compartment, and then there's a controller in the back. The front head cone is stuck on it with a plastic buckle. Hey, it's stuck like this. Under the fuselage, there is a vent, and the rear is a 60mm duct, and you can see it from the last 60 for F-16. This detail is more and more portrayed. The navigation lights of this plane are also very beautiful. So this too are canard wing, and it not fully moving. The canard on the left has an anti-mistake device that does not allow everyone to install this left and right upside down. So nothing much to say about the canard wing, but the two pieces have reinforced fiber. Now what about the fixing it? Just stick it directly in this position with foam glue. Because this aircraft is a delta wing mixed control, so there is only one rudder surface on the wing, which is a lift wing mixed control. And then at the bottom is this propeller, and a fairing included the structure of a ball head. On a tip there also has navigation lights, which can be seen from both sides. Although this is a livery of the Aerobatic Team, but there are weapon hanging point at the bottom. You can hang up the fuel tank and the missile. It should be super handsome. So this vertical tail is also simply glued directly on the fuselage. And there's also a little beacon on the tip. The antennas and holes on the vertical tail are nicely detailed, and it even has two little tails. This is a quick release landing gear. This structure is very realistic steel wire wrapped in plastic, and this one is added in front, and the impact resistance should be very good after attached. This landing gear is both realistic and powerful. The front wheel is also brought with a small one in front. There is a cover plate, although this cannot be put away, but the details are still portrayed. The front wheel is a CNC and a shock-absorbing landing gear. So this aircraft, both in terms of detail and appearance level, is quite high. So next, we install this plane. Let's put the landing gear first. Look at this pin. This pin can go in. Press it right. So now open hatch cover, open thistle cover, and cover this one before installing the front landing gear. Then tighten this landing gear with screw. Next, attach the main landing gear. Then press this pin inside to lock. Then there are 3 screws in the whole landing gear of the toothpiece to install the landing gear on this side. The opposite side is exactly the same, so install it. Now attach ventral fins here. It's okay. This aircraft is actually the same as our usual installation. So now we attach main wings. There are 2 wires and 1 light wire, and then 1 aileron line. The aileron line should be indistinguishable anyway. It is just 2 lines to rest casually. Then 2 screws on the back side. The installation of the other wing is the same. Now the rest is simple. Pull this line out. After pulling it out, apply glue and stick it on it. It is a vertical tail wing. Now attach canard wing. Just apply glue and stick it on it. One more thing. Here it is. This aircraft also have air refueling port just stuck on it. So now the installation of the aircraft is complete. It is so simple. After this J-10 is installed, it will look super handsome. When the 5 flight lights are on, that feeling is awesome. Here are a few things to watch when installing the aircraft. The first point is this tail wing. Actually, the real solidity is slightly upturned, making it flat. After I glued it, I didn't care. Then he came down on his own. So mine is flat now, and it's slightly upturned when you stick it, which is more like the truth. The second point is the controller. Because this plane is a delta wing pattern, It seems the Remote V3 has added Delta Wing mixed buckle customization. As a result, after setting it up, I found that Remote still doesn't have the Delta Wing mode. In other words, you can't install this remote on other Delta Wing aircraft. I didn't set this setting now. The lift is still very large, right? But the rear wings are quite small. That is to say, the plane should fly. The role of the rear wing should be very smart. You may have to pay attention to this when flying. There's not much else to say. So now let's take this plane out and fly it. So now we are on the beach to fly this J-10 Vigorous Dragon fighter jet. Actually, oh, it looks still so beautiful. So this plane turns out to be pretty simple, right? There's not much more to say. I'll show you the layout of the Delta Wing at low speed and high angles later. Let's see if you can fly it out. Okay, so now let's prepare for takeoff. The elevator is huge. Ailerons are small. Ready to go. Hey, this slide feels different, right? What steel torrent march should we try? Ready to take off. Here we go. This plane feels very comfortable when flying. This plane flies so quietly. I adjusted finally. The 2600 battery feels slightly heavier. Tune it again. Tweak it. I finally understand why. FMS adjusted the aileron of this controller so small because he is really smart. Now on full aileron. It's just a small aileron, and the manifestation given to you in the air is still very large. It's hard for me to imagine what this plane would look like if his falling face was full of aileron. It is so stable. Controller training is really good. Can I try it? Almost familiar. Hey, that's the feeling. Although duct wing unable to move, but you can still fly out, right? Do it again. This Delta Wing fighter jet having an unbeatable performance. Its fleece so quiet. He has not a very loud sound. He's very quiet. Can you hear it? Let's try it. Just very quiet. I rarely hear that 64mm plane are so quiet. Even Hando also so quieter. This jet quieter than 50mm aircraft. Oh, this feels so amazing and really smooth. Hey, this painting is like a sharp sword. It's the same as he cutting through the sky. Full of power. Oops, is the power a little weak? However, in front of the beauty and this feeling, isn't this a problem in the face of this feeling? Is it? The solid remote tuning is the best tuning in the remote I have flown. This plane, you can feel that the gyroscope correcting, but it doesn't interfere with the attitude of the plane. It interferes a lot. You see the back to rudders have been tilted up, but this plane, stalling almost never happens to me. This aerodynamic layout of mine, plus the presence of this remote. Hey, come on. Although the leva, leave the rest to me. Wow, what a nice plane. It's a wonderful sensation to fly. So now let's try somersaults. It's full of power now. And to be honest, I say again, it was so quiet, I can't even push the throttle. I feel like the battery just went out. How long have I been flying? I've forgotten. Can you drop a comment first? UH for minutes. Let's leave it. I feel this battery is not very good. Anyway, we are going to land it. I dodged a stone. Oh, no rocks this time. He just squatted on the ground. Hey, I was just about to praise him. I said land on the ground, and you see how he feels when he slides here. It's kind of like the feeling of grabbing a pear and sliding on that taxiway at an air show. I thought it was a big one, but I pulled a big one. I should have said it while flying earlier. It's hard to hide how much I love this plane. I'm actually not particularly interested in 60 for planes now because it's too big. That big plane gives you that pressure and that adrenaline rush. In fact, 64 is relatively not that strong. But this plane is different. He doesn't give you that feeling of adrenaline rush. He's the kind of quiet. Then add your feelings. Add this paint and this model. And then, when it take off, the feeling of piercing the air, the dopamine secretion, the joy is over. Really, he doesn't give you that feeling like that big plane ups. So the heavy psychological burden is not. It's just a little airplane, but the performance of the whole thing flying is not really a big plane. And you can see that feeling when you are at a low altitude with a high angle, throttle push and go, but still so quiet. You said the motivation is very strong, especially when the moon rises. It may be born to rush 80 or 90 meters, but it's good enough for this dynamic. Now the power of a batteries. One of the 4S 2600 batteries lasted more than 4 minutes and fell down without any problems at all. Also, the navigation lights look very bright and plane makes it feels really wow. For new friends who've never flown, they like plane as a symbol, then start liking domestic planes. Then this aircraft must be a very good choice because of the addition of remote and the excellent shape of the aircraft and give you the experience of control. The best thing about the Delta Wing is that it doesn't look like one of those regular aircraft, but it's easy to stall. It's just like I said, you can pull the lever and leave the rest to remote. So what if everyone wants to buy a smaller and more realistic J-10? Then this FMS 60mm J-10 is absolutely very good choice. Okay, it's over. Let's sum up the video. At the end, if you want this fighter jet, do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, bye.